the microphone on. The camera up. We about to purge some BS up in here. Welcome to another Purge of the BS. We going live tonight. I think the stream looks good. So far, so good. I gotta get a little something off my chest. Hope y'all with me. Make sure you jump in the chat. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let's get ready to roll. All right, I got my little music playing in the background. I like that. Like that. So, here we are once again. Another Purge of the BS. Midweek, Thursday. Let's go. We're doing it live. Nonetheless, there's been a lot going on today. I know you guys have heard about all of the new Diddler charges and all that kind of stuff. We know about that, right? I happened to catch Piers Morgan show a little bit earlier. You know, Piers Morgan in his Uncensored show. He had Jaguar Wright on there. Now, if you don't know who Jaguar Wright is, she has been in and out of headlines for a few years, right? Basically because she's been making a lot of claims about Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So, because of that, and considering what's going on, she was brought onto the Piers Morgan show. And hold on, I gotta check my audio real quick. Hold on, what's that? All right, we're good. Sorry, I didn't have my monitor over there, so I had to do a quick check. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, though. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and do what you do. So anyway, back to the whole situation. So, of course, she was questioned about that situation on the Piers Morgan show. And she had a lot more to say about JayZ than she did about the Diddy situation. So I'm going to bring it up for y'all in 1 second here. I'm giving a sec for my chat to load just in case anyone jumps in. This was a last minute kind of situation, so if you didn't get a notification and you get to this later, thank you for coming and checking it out later. Appreciate you for stopping in. So, nonetheless, let me bring this clip up over here. Y'all give me 2 seconds. 1 second. Let's go.
Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes.
You got her own tapes. That's what she said.
I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
And she's going in. Now, I got to pause it because, like I said, I don't know how the situation is with Piers Morgan stuff. So, I'm pretty sure there would be a issue there, but she's basically telling you right off the top that regardless of what you've already seen or heard in the media, that she's got her own tapes. Her own tapes. Forget the tapes that Diddy had. So, wonder if he knew she was recording that. Anyway, you know me. Let me get back to it.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Uh-oh. She done brought Clive Davis up in it.
Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is JayZ. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far. It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Since Me Too began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same kind of scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I don't know about that one, bro.
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail.
Okay,
Get his lick back.
Whoa, wait a second. So she just said that Sean Carter, which would be JayZ, funded the Me Too movement to get R. Kelly put in jail. Why R. Kelly? I mean, he was pissing on people, but come on, why Kells? Why Kells? If that is true, I don't know. These are all allegations at this point. People call Jaguar Wright crazy a lot, and I don't necessarily think she's crazy because she said a few things some years ago, and a lot of it turned out to be true. So, I'm going to err on the side of caution with her, but I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what else she got to say.
Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does JayZ sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the Diddler's downfall.
Makes a good point.
Jaguar,
Guess they on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are.
Yeah.
It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands.
Thousands?
I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
Oh boy. Okay. See, now she done brought in Beyonce. So, guys, I hadn't watched the whole thing. I saw a clip of it earlier and I said, let me check this out. But these are some bold claims, okay? Let's be honest about that. if you don't have anything to back up these kind of claims, you definitely wouldn't want to make these kind of claims, because these kind of claims can get you in trouble with the wrong people who got money, right? So, once again, I'm going to err on the side of caution with her, but she know if she don't have no receipts. So I'm inclined to think that there's at least maybe a partial receipt. Might not have the whole barcode on there, but you might see the date. You understand what I'm saying? So, all right, let's see what else you got to say. Because in a minute, I got another clip on here with Vlad, and I'm just going to tell y'all right now, I'm not a big fan of Vlad. I like the guests that he has on his show, and that's where I'm going to leave that. Let's see what else Jaguar's talking about, though.
They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious. Just like Aaliyah got on that plane.
Oh, whoa,
Unconscious.
Whoa.
There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Did she just say that?
Listen, like I said,
Hold
JayZ
up,
and
man.
Beyonce
Hold
are
up,
not
man.
here.
Hold up, man. Now, she just made the claim that Aaliyah was placed on the plane that she later died on, unconscious, as if that was a setup. So, I don't know, because I wasn't there. But that's a bold claim, is all I'm saying. And you can't be making all them kind of statements if you ain't got receipts, okay? So we're going to see if she truly has them receipts over the course of the next few days, because I'm sure people will be talking about it. And for those of y'all that came on in here to this live version of Purge of the BS, thank y'all for stopping by. Make sure you hit the like button. Share that joint. Tell somebody about it. Make it worth my while. I'm just here so I don't get fined by the algorithm. It told me that I had to appear a certain amount of times a week around a certain time. So here I am. Hope you're happy. Back to Jaguar.
Unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar,
Jaguar.
I've got to leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much.
Now, before we move into the next piece of this, okay? Before we get to the next part of this. She said a lot, okay? She said a lot. And you got to err on the side of caution with her, but a lot of the stuff that she said about 4, 5, 6 years ago kind of turned out to be true. So it's kind of like, do I take her at her word this time without hesitation, or do I still hesitate? With me, I still hesitate because I got to see certain things for certain things to be certain things. Now, granted, I don't want to see everything, because if things get real nasty, which I think it will, I don't really want to see all that. And for those of y'all that don't know, Diddy has 120 civil cases currently awaiting him, with 25 of those victims apparently being minors at the time of the alleged offenses, right? 120 civil cases. Let me give you the focus on that. It's civil. That means there's no jail time. That's civil. Let's keep it civil. That means money. Okay? So 120 times they're going to take him to a trial by judge, most likely. I'm pretty sure civil cases are all trial by judge, right? And so the judge gets to make the decision not only of the guilt, but also of the amount that goes to the victim in those cases. So by the time he's done with 120 civil cases, like forget the criminal side of it. Forget what he's in the feds for right now. This 120 is a whole nother situation. And he's going to be dealing with that probably for the next 5 years straight. He's going to be in court every single day. Well, not starting today, but you guys get my point. Sorry, I hit my microphone there. Nonetheless, I'm going to keep this thing going because we got to get to the part of Vladimir coming back. DJ Vlad. For those that you don't know, DJ Vlad is, I guess he's a podcast host. He definitely hosts the show and he interviews people, and he gets a lot of views off the interviews. But some people don't really like Vlad. And in this particular video, I'll let you make your own decision about Vlad and his situation as far as his angle on the current Diddy and what Jaguar was just saying about JayZ, that whole thing, you know.
Well, I'm joined now by the host of Vlad TV, DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, I mean, pretty horrifying listening to
He looks funny,
these testimonies. What did you make of what you just heard?
Well, Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She's got an album in 20 years, and a lot of this stuff is just
all right, hold on
stuff
a second.
she's
Hold up. He said she hasn't had an album in 20 years. Nigga, when was your last album? Who is you to talk about when she had an album? See, this is what I be talking about, man. This is exactly what I be talking about. See, he got me started early. Let me finish. Let him finish. Look at his face, too. You know what he looked like? I don't know. I'm telling my age with this one. But there was this movie, I think it was called Legend. And there was like this flying dog, right? It's big. It was like a Treyu. And that thing, his face, he looks like that right now with that goofy ass beard and just goofy looking. Just, anyway.
heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright is saying, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, obviously, since we last spoke, there have now been these charges against Diddy, which are incredibly serious. You didn't think at the time we last spoke that he was likely to face these charges. Are you surprised it's come to this?
I'm not surprised, because I feel that law enforcement in general is reactionary. I think that when you look at high-profile individuals, their arrests, indictments usually come after a documentary, a big TV show, or in Diddy's case, it was this huge lawsuit that Cassie filed that everyone got to see all the details and all the attention that came to it. So yeah, it wasn't a surprise that it actually happened, because you've seen this happen over and over again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, all the attention that they got, and then now Diddy. So yeah, I mean, this is ultimately the world that we live in. But he'll have his day in court. And, you know, his lawyer said that he's not going to take a plea deal, because I think a plea deal at this point is probably going to be very heavy-handed, probably 20 years plus. So it makes sense for him to go to court. But we'll ultimately see what happens, you know, because we haven't really seen, apart from some of the funny stuff of, oh, there's 1 million bottles of lube that they found there. I'm sorry, 1,000 bottles of lube and so forth. We have yet to really see what the evidence is. And I think once we see the actual evidence, then people will actually formulate an opinion on what's happening right now.
Do you think there's a lot of people in the rap world in particular who are pretty fearful right now of where this may all lead? Is it a bit like the Epstein scandal, do you think?
I don't really think so, because, I mean, ultimately, everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening.
All right, let me pause that real quick, because that's a really good question that Piers Morgan just asked, is regarding whether or not the like the rap world needs to be worried. Now, let's be 100% honest, right? Diddy's parties were filled with celebrities and money. And even when there's black people with money, if there's a lot of people with money, most of them aren't black people. That's why you're seeing the Justin Biebers and Ashton Kutcher and all those names, Demi Moore, those names start coming out because those are the folks who had money. So let's not, I mean, I'm sure there's a few rap artists or whatever involved, but a lot of the rappers they wasn't even with all of that. Like, I'm going to be real, a lot of the real ones, they wasn't letting that man do nothing goofy to them. Of course he paid people to let him diddle him. You know what I'm saying? Of course he did. Because the rappers, most of them, wasn't with all that. And if that's what he was trying to do, we'll get into that in a minute. Let me finish listening to this goofiness with Vlad. First of all, what did he DJ? How do you get to be DJ Vlad? Is that an initial? Is his name David James or something? Because if he's a DJ, I want to see, what did he DJ? Was he a VJ? Like he did a video thing? I don't know. I just don't like when people just be calling themselves a title and I don't never see them do what the title says that they do. Like you can't be doctor somebody and you ain't doctoring nothing. You know what I'm saying? How you doctor? I mean, well, there is Dr. Dre. But you know what? I'll let that pass. I give Dre a pass on that one, okay? And everybody else can. But I don't give Vlad a damn pass. I don't. And I'm going to get into him in a second. And pause. But I'm gonna talk a little bit more about him in a second, okay? Let me let him finish up with his ridiculous furry beard. Like, that's not ridiculous.
You know, if I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party. There's the actual party where the big celebrities go to, the Howard Sterns and the Leonardo DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home, you know, at 2, 3 o'clock a.m. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain types of people that are kind of in an inner circle. No. And we'll see if those names ultimately come out or not. You know, I think that when it comes to a situation like the feds, cooperating is a very big thing. And I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually, you know, lessening the amount of time that he does or possibly even walking away.
Hold up now. So he's telling us that Diddy needs to take the deal. Let me bring that back for you real quick. I'm sorry. In case you missed it, I know I just had the audio for a second, but let me bring that back for you.
DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home, you know, at 2, 3 o'clock a.m. Okay. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain types of people that are kind of in an inner circle. No. And we'll see if those names ultimately come out or not. You know, I think that when it comes to a situation like the feds, cooperating is a very big thing. And I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually, you know, lessening the amount of time that he does or possibly even walking away.
I mean, what had you heard about Diddy over the years? Obviously, people knew he had parties. They knew he was a big rap star and so on. But the nature of this kind of thing, I mean, I'm asking because when I watched, for example, I met Diddy a couple of times. He was always perfectly charming to me.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. But you know, I've met a lot of people who were charming and turned out to be monsters. Oh. The video that came out of showing him beating up his then girlfriend in a hotel corridor was so shocking that when I watched it, I remember thinking, well, this guy is capable of anything. I mean, a man that would do that, who's that famous, who would do that to a woman in a hotel corridor, public hotel corridor, if he's prepared to be that violent in public, knowing there might be cameras around, he's prepared to do pretty much anything, was my conclusion. I mean, what did you hear about him over the years?
Yeah, I mean, that tape was horrific. And after our interview that we did with Roger Bonds, who I helped to bring onto the show, I did my own interview with Roger Bonds. It was a very in-depth, I think, two-hour interview where he goes into actually witnessing a lot of women that were physically abused by Diddy. I mean, not only Cassie, of course, which you saw multiple times, but Kim Porter. He was on a trip where Kim Porter got her nose broken allegedly by Diddy and flew in a plastic surgeon to fix it. There was a personal chef that Diddy beat up.
What happens when you got too much money?
Heard voicemails of her describing it. This wasn't even something that she wanted to come publicly with.
I see what you're
There was
talking about.
other women as well that I got details on. So I think that Diddy has a long history of violence towards women, but also of men, because there's also the Steve Stout incident. If you remember that whole situation, he was he was in a music video with Nas.
All right, so he said he's got a history of violence towards women and men. Now, I'm not really sure if that includes sexual violence, right? But the dude got 120 civil cases, along with the 14 or so charges. I forgot how many charges he got in the other thing. But he got the charges from the feds. Oh, let me pause this for a second. He got the charges from the feds. So he's got like 150 charges or cases. Well, charges at least, right? What kind of deal? Like, what you would have to give up Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? You'd have to give up Jesus to get a deal that would take a significant amount of time or responsibility financially away from all them civil cases. Like, that's just... Nonetheless, Vlad is telling Diddy to take the deal. And that's what I think he's going to do, because why, if he wasn't the only one doing all that, I don't see Diddy being the dude to just want to go down on his own. I just don't see him to be that guy. Just from what I've seen over the years. I don't know. Don't know the man personally. Just from what I've seen over the years. I'm just saying he doesn't seem like the type that would like let that happen and the whole situation goes down and nobody else goes with him. Nobody. Come on. And see, if they start picking on like the hotel workers and all that, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way about that. Because he may have threatened those people. Like, yeah, he might have paid 50 grand for a tape, but he also would have said, I'll give you 50 grand and let you live. That's a different kind of deal. Because me, I'd be like, 50 grand's a little low. But if there's also like your child wrapped up in a towel or something in the trunk, and they're telling you that they, you know, if you don't take this 50 grand, that something's going to happen. All right, I get it. So nonetheless, let me keep it moving. Thank y'all for joining in, everybody that's in here. Appreciate y'all. Throw something in the chat. Throw me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can even hear me. That would be perfect. You are my monitor here. So let me get back over here and let Vlad finish talking his garbage. Like I said, I really don't like Vlad. And I can't figure out what it is. I thought it was the DJ thing, but then I was like, yeah, well, there's Dr. Dre. I proved myself wrong right in front of y'all. I don't know what it is. I just don't like this dude. I don't hate him. I just don't like him. I'm not a big fan. That's the best way I can say. I'm not a big fan. But I do like the guests that he has on his show, because those are interesting guests that I wish I could have on Purge of the BS. So, not hate
me now. There was a scene where Diddy was on the cross like Jesus, and I guess he went to Steve Stout afterwards and said that he wants to take that part out. That part wasn't taken out. So Diddy and his entourage show up at Steve Stout's office and they beat him with a champagne bottle, which they ultimately settled out of court for. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of violence that has happened around him, and I think at this point it's just catching up to him.
There's lots of rumor mills about him being secretly gay or bisexual or whatever. I mean, I don't care, but do you think there's much credence to those?
I mean, it's hard to say. I have heard, because, well, remember, for example, the Wendy Williams situation. She was on the radio in New York, and she said that she had photos of Diddy in a gay type environment of some sort. And I had someone actually explain to me what that photo was after the fact. And Diddy came.
What is a gay type environment? Like an environment that's conducive to the gay? It's conducive to the gay. A gay type environment. You know what I'm talking about. Rainbows on the wall and flowers and somebody's dressed in something that you think should be on somebody else. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. That type of environment, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Vlad.
Came in and threatened to sue the radio station unless she was fired. And she was fired, and she had to go to Philly for, I think, 5 years or something like that. So there was that. I'm not sure how true it is because it was just a photo, and a photo, could mean a lot of different things. I mean, the fact that he's a cuckold, that he likes to masturbate while watching women that he's with have sex with other men.
That's a little weird.
I don't know. Is that gay? Is that bisexual? Is that just being a cuckold? It's hard to say. It's not something that I'm actually into. But I'm sure it blurs the lines between homosexuality and bisexuality somewhat. But I don't think he's exclusively gay because he has a lot of children. It's hard to really say, and it ultimately doesn't really matter. And, I've talked about this in my interviews. I think if he came forward and said, hey, I'm a bisexual man, I think a lot of the jokes, like the no Diddy jokes and so forth, will kind of ease down and people might actually.
All right. I'm going to put a quick pause here. Let me tell you what. If the whole world is joking about you doing some things, you probably did a couple of them things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if everybody seems to kind of agree, that means you've done something to enough people that everybody's starting to agree. Now, I'm not saying that to say that there's anything wrong with that. We've already had a discussion on this show about the stigmatism that goes with certain images and why people in certain positions might not want to be looked at that way. Okay, we understand that. But I think if Diddy was just honest with himself, I'm sure he's been honest with others. I'm sure if he was just honest with himself, he probably could have avoided a few things. But in I don't even want to say Vlad's defense. I don't even want to say in Diddy's defense. I'm just going to say this. If you are the type of person that wants to watch your lady get cracked out by somebody else, that's not illegal. Okay? Apparently it's illegal to fly in the person that cracks your lady's back for you, though. That's yeah. So that's a gray area. Me personally, no, I wouldn't want to see that. But I'm sure that there's people in this world that do. It's a whole market for it. So if you're into that, don't fly them and go find them around the neighborhood. Sorry, I don't think I can say that. But anyway, let me keep it going here so I can finish my last two little clips here. If you're still around, make sure you hit the like button. Put something in the chat. Let me know you can actually hear me. Thumbs up, anything. I appreciate it. Let me see this last little couple of seconds of Vlad. I can't deal with his voice. Maybe it's his voice. I thought it was his beard. I think it's all of it together. I think it's the way his hair at the top is like sort of balding, but not. And it's like he's sort of holding on to it, but he went bald a while ago, and that didn't look good. So he's kind of like stuck in this place. Anyway, Vlad. Let me give you back to Vlad. Here you go. You're welcome.
Be a little understanding of his situation a little bit more, as opposed to him denying it. But ultimately, who knows? I have no idea.
We've talked, people have talked a lot in the last few years that it's unusual that so few people in the music business have been held to account under the Me Too campaign umbrella in the way that other industries were held to account. Could this be, following R. Kelly and others, could this be a tipping point where there might be a lot of other rap stars in particular, perhaps with very checkered backgrounds, lots of rumors about them, could all start falling like dominoes?
Hold on a second.
It's hard to say.
Hold on a second, Vlad. Why would I'm trying to think of any other groups or industries that had like a big falling out, like other than the I think it was the Catholic Church or whatever with the pedophilia, right? But what other group or organization has had a major Me Too-ish downfall? There's been plenty of people, individuals with money, that have had that happen. As soon as it comes out, a whole flood of people come out. It's happened to Cosby, definitely happened to R. Kelly. But we already know how people feel about R. Kelly and that situation. Similar to this, folks allowed it to go on for an extended period of time, didn't stop it, and now all of a sudden, I'm not even going to say all of a sudden, just, you get my point. Let me let Vlad finish up a couple more minutes here.
Say, like I said in the beginning, it's very reactionary. I think if there is a lot of media attention over somebody, there's a documentary about them, there's movies about them and so forth, I think that that ends up getting on law enforcement's radar, and then you will see things kind of escalate very quickly. It's hard to say. R. Kelly was extremely high profile, and there will be others, but I don't think that the music industry is really having less situations than other industries. I mean, every industry has certain situations and they're high profile, and there's a bunch of other stuff that kind of falls below the radar.
Finally, DJ, what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think Diddy will ever come out of prison?
That's a tough one, because I was really shocked that he didn't get a bond. I thought for sure that he'd be sitting in his mansion right now awaiting trial, but he's sitting in a jail cell right now. And it could be years before this actually makes it to trial. So it proves that things are very, very serious on his end. And if you look at the R. Kelly situation, he got, I believe, 30 years. This may fall along the same lines, except the only difference is when I looked into the R. Kelly case, a lot of the convictions were based on underage girls. You've heard a few spatterings of underage accusations, but in general, it seemed like most of the women were of legal age in the Diddy case. So I'm thinking it won't be as severe as it is with Diddy. As it is with R. Kelly. But for someone like Diddy, who's in his mid-50s, he doesn't want to spend 5, 10, 20 years in prison.
No.
He wants to get out. He wants to keep it moving. So I think he will get out of prison at one point. It's just hard to say, right now what it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. It's a fascinating story. DJ Vlad, thank you.
Well, DJ Vlad had a lot to say about basically having Diddy take the deal, and Diddy should take the deal. But let's get back to the original point of what was being said, which was about what Jaguar Wright was saying, where she started to implicate certain other names such as Clive Davis, such as JayZ, Beyonce, and I think a few others that she mentioned in there. So there's a lot to be uncovered on that side of it, because Jaguar Wright been talking, so she gonna keep talking. And a lot of the stuff that she'd be talking about gets people's wheels turning, and they go looking into it. And before you know it, they actually come up with something. But, a lot of folks do not like the fact that Jaguar Wright seems to be kind of out there on her own, unprotected, in my opinion, from whatever it is that Diddy or anybody else might want to send in her direction. So I don't know Jaguar Wright, but if you ever see this Jaguar, stay strong out there, because it's crazy out there. It is. But for the folks in the latter portion of this show, I want y'all to understand that speaking your truth is your right, right? And everybody has a right to have a response to that truth. Sometimes that truth is just so big that we can't hear it. It's like it's so loud you can't hear it. You ever had something that, like, when the music is so loud it's distorted, right? Makes your eardrums vibrate to the point where you can't actually hear because it's so loud. And that's kind of what I think was Jaguar Wright's problem. She was screaming it from the rooftops, and it was so loud that people just couldn't hear her. And I think once everybody saw that Cassie video, that like changed everybody's opinions. It really did. It really did. So I'm hoping that she gets whatever it is that she needs out of this, because I used to dig, her stage performance. She was fun to watch, and I'm hoping that people don't just brush it off as, oh, that's Jaguar talking again, because that's easy to do too. Because she be saying some stuff, and you'd be like, whoa, what? Like that one about Aaliyah. I don't know, but the implication that JayZ drugged Aaliyah and put her on a plane with the intention of it crashing, that's just wow. That's reaching right there. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that's reaching right there. All I'm trying to say. But the truth of the matter is, she could be right. And are we prepared for her to be right? Are we prepared for her to be the one that, exposes the truth and it all comes toppling down? Well, me, for one, I'm not ready. I don't want everybody to go down, now that I think about it. Because I already know with the Diddy situation, it's going to drag lower end people in there. Because like Vlad just said, all them celebrities, all the Demi Moores and the Ashton Kutchers and the Tom Hanks and everybody that was stopping by the Diddy parties, and all of them, they did leave at some point. Denzel Washington was seen yelling at Diddy, talking about he don't respect nobody, which he probably didn't. He probably tried to grab Denzel on the butt cheeks. And Denzel hit him with, "Get your damn hand off me." Hit him with the lip and shit, that whole thing. Who knows? But the point is, I'm worried that it'll come down to hotel staff, chauffeurs, travel agents. You see what I'm saying? Like the people, the staff that were bringing people around, not necessarily the folks that were actually engaging in the activity. Because if it's consensual adults, somebody being sore the next day isn't necessarily against the rule. Just being honest. So, now here's my other thing. When 50 Cent was saying all that stuff about Diddy, why was it? I mean, we were all listening, right? Like, we were all listening, right? And all of a sudden, everybody acted surprised when they started talking about Meek Mill or whoever was doing things with Diddy. Why are we surprised in today's world? I mean, he had on shiny suits and stuff, and he was dancing around. When I really think back on it, he was getting his eyebrows arched in the beginning. Like, before that was even a thing for people to do. We were like, come on, bro. So, I think if we were just honest about it, if everybody was just honest about it, we'd understand that the Diddler's always been who he is. And I, for one, am not ready to trash the entire Bad Boy collection over whatever it is that he's actually done. Now, with that being said, he probably did blow up Kid Cudi's car. They definitely found some evidence on that. But I don't know Kid Cudi either. And I'm not really sure what all that was about. And if he was he was a hellion. Okay, we get it. He was a bad boy. He wasn't going nowhere. So, I don't really know why Diddy's situation is going to be in the news for the next 5 years, according to my math, with all of the civil cases. Even though he'll be in jail, they'll have to take him out of jail. What is that, habeas corpus or whatever that is, and he'll have to appear for every case. So he'll basically be in and out of jail, at least throughout the daytime, for a couple of years. So the first few years might not be too bad. It just sucks he got to go back to the prison, penitentiary, whatever you guys want to call it. Some people could say jail is different, because it is. That's like a holding cell, technically, when you're just in jail. But nonetheless, I am just glad that I got to purge a little bit of BS today. Just a little bit. I don't believe I'm going to get fined. So I think that the numbers are going to be okay. I appreciate everybody that came through this motherfucker. Use my language, but that's just how I feel. Okay? Before I get out of here, I've got to make sure y'all like and subscribe and you know that. You already know what to do, so I don't know why you don't do it. Matter of fact, do it right now. I'm looking at the thing. Oh, that's what's up. Nobody's here. It's cool with me, baby. All right, y'all. I'm out of here.